You hear about Kegel exercises, for example, and people talk about how to do them, but that's all you ever hear about the pelvic floor. And so you don't really know how to kind of do things in a way that protects your pelvic floor, or kind of how to even tell when it's too tight or not relaxing. And so that takes sort of a training. And so usually when people come to, first you get an examination to see if your pelvic floor is tight. So for women, it's a pelvic exam, and for men, it's usually a rectal exam.
How does that exam go?
So, it's essentially palpating the muscles and also looking at the function. So we'll say
So digital palpation, that's a medical technology for fingers are called digits. I'm old enough to recognize what a digital prostate exam is, right? Mm-hmm. The physician inserts their fingers through it into the anus and feels the prostate to see whether or not it's swollen or not. Mm-hmm. And as I'm saying this, I'm realizing, sometimes we think of medicine, quote unquote, modern medicine is so evolved. This has basically been the practice for 50 years, 60 years, maybe 100 years. In the same way that the old school practice for glaucoma, excessive eye pressure, was for the physician to just touch the eyeball. So folks, for those of you that think that medicine has evolved much, it clearly has in many ways. But in any event, so a prostate exam goes as I just described. What would a pelvic floor exam for a male and a pelvic floor exam for a female involve at a kind of granular level here?
Yeah. So for women, you can feel the pelvic floor muscles through the vagina. So you can feel the iliococcygeus, the pubococcygeus, the levator ani. Those are all names of different muscles in this bowl.
This is the physician who can feel them with their fingers.
Correct. And you could too. You could put your finger in, but you don't have a reference of normal, right? So you wouldn't know what a normal pelvic floor feels like versus a tight one versus a weak one. And so you can assess the tenseness based on, palpation. You can also see if there's tenderness. And so you can assess that based on just a general physical examination. And then also you can observe. So I can say, squeeze your pelvic floor up and in. I can look and see, are they squeezing or are they pushing? Like, are they coordinated or not, right? Because that's a function of normal use of the pelvic floor. And sometimes you'll see that they're discoordinated. You can also assess for sensation in the area and things like that. That could be consequences of dysfunction.
Can there be dysfunction in laterality, like the pelvic floor is pulling up and to the right or up and to the left?
Absolutely. So typically when you see a pelvic floor therapist, now I'm not a pelvic floor therapist, but these are the people who do the work, right? They work with you on a prolonged basis to help you normalize the function of your pelvic floor. It's like going to the gym with a trainer, right?